What's up, everybody? It's the Hardy Construction. You can find us on Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, as well as Instagram with your host Komp. And
Twit.
today's film is
Vampire Clay. I think it's 2017.
Vampire Clay 2017. Chiyo Su
Yeah.
Nendo. A plasticine demon devours the denizens of a rural art school. I don't think that's right. Directed by Soichi Umezawa. Written by him as well. Starring Eina Fujita, Asuka Kurosawa, Yuyu Makihara.
Very good.
So anyway, I picked this film because I randomly saw the trailer a couple of weeks
And
ago.
wanted to torture.
I don't think it was torture, not necessarily. Like,
No, it wasn't
It's
torture,
more-
but
this is-
it wasn't good either. Put it
this
that
is
way.
a bit of a who gives a fuck movie. After I saw it, the trailer made it look really good. I guess
Really?
not good in like a great way. It made it look good in a story of Ricky sort of fun way. But
Okay, I can see that.
because that's the thing, like American companies made a trailer for this, and they I think the tagline, like what it says in the trailer, like
Art's so bad it kills. is
yeah,
what
but
I'm
there's another
looking at.
thing is like the greatest movie about killer clay ever made or some shit like that. It was just
Oh,
like
Jesus.
very bizarre, but it's a nice little neat 30-second trailer, and they obviously used all the best parts of the trailer in the film. And the thing is, the movie's not horrible. It's just sort of like meh, whatever.
It's got its moments. It's just really stupidly structured.
Yes, this is a movie that I think has more endings than fucking Lord of the Rings. I swear
And like
to you.
weird, like random like slow motion and like random like drama out of nowhere.
Yeah, well, yeah, I
it's
think
just
what
bizarre. It's like a bizarre movie.
I think they try to give characters backstories. So anyway, to sort of explain what this movie is about, I don't know any of the characters' names really. The girls sort of all look alike, and I don't mean that in a racist way. They literally all have the
You.
same hairstyle. Then they don't even have names on the IMDb page.
I did know it at one point, but I forgot it as it was going along.
So it goes like this. Okay, so these are the base characters. There's an older teacher. She's probably like in her late 40s. There's I guess a protagonist girl. There's a secondary sort of jealous artistic girl.
There was that girl that's like
All
the
right,
best
hold on. Let me
artist.
finish this. There's
Okay.
the sweet-natured, I guess, nice girl. There's the young, thin, waifish boy.
Who wants to lay the nice girl?
I thought he was like blowing her off, but I guess I was wrong.
No, he wanted to impregnate her with his clay seed.
And then there's also a guy with half a face, like that gets explained later. I can't explain. He's like the cop from Night of the Creeps, but he's just not really even as interesting as that character. So anyway, so the film begins with this teacher, this woman who I guess she sets up shop at this abandoned artist's residence. This guy who just vanished, and
Yes, quite.
while she's reconstructing the place, she's digging up trash out of the way because she wants to open up a little art school. It's not like from what we just see, she just looks like an art teacher, and
Ina Academy.
she finds a anal academy. Now that's a movie.
See, that would be great. And then you have the clay. It's like a self-replicating dildo machine.
So she finds a bag of clay, like buried underneath the ground, and like whatever. Maybe she thinks she could save money on stuff for class. And so she brings it into the classroom, and we're introduced to all the other characters. And first of all, the beginning of the movie states how many students actually get into colleges. So kind of prestige colleges in Japan, and it is a low number because they're like.
Is it real though?
Oh, I believe it is. I mean, like I don't think they would pull that shit out of their ass. To begin
They make art school seem so stressful.
Well, yeah.
Like
if you really, but
art
the thing
school
is,
is supposed to be fun.
because if you look at the stuff in Japan, like if you actually look at the output of art and stuff in Japan, like
Yeah.
like that's an actual business. Like in America, when you and I went to art school, we might as well went off to Jack Off University.
Yeah,
But
they
like
don't really value art nearly as much here as they do there.
In certain ways, you know what I mean. But anyway, so this school, what I was reading a review for it, because I was like, what did I just watch? So I just read some reviews for it, and they were like, saying that there is some sort of social class structure that's mentioned. Like, I guess, I don't know if it's necessarily an analogy for it,
Where
but
people who go to Tokyo have way more
yeah. So
cultural
essentially,
experience.
this is a cram school that the woman is opening up for the students that want to make it into a bigger college, a more prestigious college in the city, as opposed to a more rural area. And we
I
learn
kind of feel
later.
bad for her. They're kind of like insulting her.
There's a weird flashback in the middle of the film, which I had no reason or understanding of why it was there. But they
Yeah.
gave her a little origin story of why she opened up a school in the middle of nowhere. Apparently, she was this is what I got from it: that she was a teacher that was dating somebody, or had a relationship with a man who had an affair with a younger student, and that's why she left that school and went back to this area. And she sort of has a grudge against kids who are doing so well to try to go back to bigger schools. So it's
The
not
way they make it seem, though, it's like as if she is like crazy. Like there's a point in the movie where I'm like, is she gonna go nuts and like kill them? Like
towards
I
the
didn't know where
end.
it
Yeah,
was
towards
going.
the end, when when they deal with the clay man and they bring a box to the school. Like I
Yeah,
thought, is she gonna bring that to? Because I think she brings it to the school that she left. Her fiance or whoever the guy she
but then she
dumped with.
doesn't do it and
Right,
goes
because that little
buries
girl,
it.
that little girl's with her. Why they even both went to the city to dump the fucking thing? It doesn't make any sense. Like
Yeah,
what I
it
would
didn't
figure,
make sense.
what I would figure for them to do, would make sense if they took all the clay that was left, wet
Mhm.
it, then cooked it. That's it. Automatically, just do that instead of
Oh, killing it. You
burying.
mean?
Yeah, just instead of just burying it
Well,
again
they
for
set it
some
on
other asshole
fire.
to
That
get it.
already kills it.
No, but I mean the clay dust that they had. You know what I mean? Like that was left
Yeah.
over. They could have
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
they could have baked it and then just burnt that shit. It's not like it automatically jumps and attacks you.
See, what I
Whatever.
was thinking was they should encase it in cement and then drop it in the middle of
Yeah,
a river.
yeah, that makes sense. But I don't know. Was the clay? Well, we're jumping ahead of time, but let's go back. So the lady takes this clay into the past,
This
and
is a
then
very plot-heavy.
I know. I'm
character-important-
like I'm surprised that we're talking actually more than I thought I would about this film. But so the film is very lo-fi. It's practical effects heavy, and
Yeah.
I think that uh, it's nice for what it's doing, but it's not sort of a Tokyo Gore level
Not
of
at all,
effects.
because it's not nearly fun enough. The director actually made Y is for Youth. And
Yeah,
Agencies
I
of
read that, and then I didn't realize which one that was. Do you?
Yeah,
do you
I
know which
forgot, but then like I read a little excerpt about it, and I was like, oh, I think I remember that actually.
What happened in it? What was the excerpt?
This girl is pissed off that her dad's a loser and her mom's like mean or something, so she's like imagining them getting injured by the things that they did wrong to her and like cutting herself or something weird. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so it's all supposed to show these kids sort of battling each other, and I would figure that the main teacher would have a grudge against the main, I guess, so and so. There's no real protagonist in this film. We're sort of led to believe that there's a protagonist in this movie with this young girl, but it's not like there's no sort of main focus narrative. It's sort of like these people just go to school. This clay lets out. It starts attacking people, and then it's like the movie ends, and then it like restarts like 3 more times, and it's like really weird. It's like I'd never seen pacing of a movie like this before.
The main
ever.
girl's name, I mean, the main girl, quote, is Kaori.
Okay. So Kaori is, she's building she's actually probably the star student of it. You know what I mean? Like everybody else is sort of, there's an underlying jealousy. There's a second girl,
No, that's not Kaori.
Kaori's the
Kaori's the
teacher?
one. No, Kaori's the girl that cuts herself on the blade that she thought the best student in the school put inside her thing or something. I don't know. They all kind of blend together, and honestly, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So anyway, there's this main girl who's actually a very good sculptor artist, and they're all dealing. I guess for this week they were gonna do sculpture and then do drawings. I guess the following week. Anyway, so there's one girl and her sculpture gets busted in the face, and they think they're led to believe that maybe it's the other kids doing it. But anyway, it's all like college bullshit drama, and it's not anywhere near interesting.
I remember when I was in art school, somebody smeared a fucking face on a wet oil painting I made.
Really.
And, yeah, I think it was probably an accident, honestly, because we had this shitty
Wow.
storage paint racks and stuff, Anyway, so there was this girl there. She did not do it. Like this was just a completely innocent girl. Like, and she was like a freshman. I was like a senior, and I just started going off on her like such an asshole. And
Really?
I feel yeah, and I feel so bad about it.
Wait,
Like
so did
still,
she
like I
actually
don't.
do it by mistake? I
No,
mean,
she didn't do anything. She
oh,
didn't do
so what
anything.
made
She
you
had
go off
nothing
on
to
her?
do with it. I just saw somebody and started yelling at them. Like it was really like a dick of me. I don't know why I did it, and I've always wanted to apologize to her, but I have no idea who she is
What did
or
she
anything.
do, like, in response?
So if you're listening to this random girl that I screamed at and traumatized, I'm sorry.
What did she do in response when you're yelling at her?
She was like a scared little kid. Like it was like
Wow.
and I was also like 4 years older than you're
Danny,
supposed
what
to start
a
college in and stuff.
this
But yeah,
shows you how much of a male pig Danny is picking on a woman that's
I
younger than him
was, I
using his
was. I've
powers.
changed, guys.
No,
I've
no, no.
changed.
Time's up, buddy. Anyway, this blah 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 all that horse shit about them. Like I didn't not enjoy this film, but I didn't think it was anything spectacular. I thought it would be a lot better than it was. Like there's a lot of
I liked all the effects.
yeah, there's a lot of potential in such a weird sort of I mean, essentially, what is this? They call it vampire clay, but like it's not sucking blood. I mean, it gets into your
It
system
does
and
suck blood.
well, I mean, no, I think it uses the water in the blood to come alive. It's not like it's drinking blood or anything like that.
Oh,
Because
okay.
for the most part, it's water that turns, makes it, form and like it only takes like a little bit of drops of water to make it come alive.
I
So,
just want to taste your blood.
so it uses mostly practical effects. I believe the only digital effects are like small things, like the explosions in the city at the very end and
Hmm.
stuff like that. And I do like the design of the creature itself. It sort of has this weird skeleton face boy or something like
I
that.
liked all this stuff. Like when it was showing people's faces all like mutilated. Like when that guy had the protractor impaled in his face.
Yeah, that was great because like his face is like totally smushed in.
Yeah, there
And,
was like some cool shit in there. Like the artwork was all like really cool.
yeah,
And then they had this ending sequence, and it reminded me so much of Frank Zappa "Baby Snakes" music video, which is just like crazy, trippy art, claymation shit. But it's good.
So tell me about I'm gonna try to send you a photo of what I thought that skeleton face was based on.
Okay.
Because I was looking and going, where did I see this face from? Because the sculpture of the clay monster, because there was an artist that obviously the artist that disappeared. We find out in a lengthy secondary flashback that he was killed by this asshole character who's burnt on the side of his face because he used all the money selling this guy's artwork to pay off his debts and not paying back the artist.
What does it have to do with killing everybody else, though?
He just became insane. He just became an insane artist because nobody would buy his shit, and when they did, somebody found a way to fuck him over with it. So I want you take the next 30 seconds to talk about what did you think about the gore and the violence in the film?
I did like all the clay stuff was awesome. All the fucking faces morphing was like very like the thing. Not as good as the thing, but still like pretty cool for like a low budget thing. I used the word thing again. um, and I don't know, it was kind of silly and kind of creepy. There
I
were
mean, it was
points
neat.
that were like genuinely creepy.
It was neat when the clay, consumed that first girl. So she was like clay inside of it, and then the
Yeah.
main girl was tearing pieces of the clay apart. And I don't know why they didn't focus on the gore of the girl being pulled apart because you see it very short, like small, like shots of it. I don't know why they didn't like show any more of it, but I guess maybe it didn't look as real to the production people. But it
Like
looked
I
pretty
think
neat.
I don't know what the budget was. I'm guessing very low. But
Oh, yeah.
if they had a higher budget, I think they could have done some more like cool Videodrome sort of stuff.
Right. I mean, there's no insane like camera work in this film that makes it feel anything different. Here, let me. I'm gonna send Danny the image that I thought inspired that face. So I'm sure you're gonna have a
Send
nice
it to me.
you're gonna have a nice reaction in this episode.
Okay.
But I think that this is what I thought it was, and I'll say it once Danny has his reaction. You can take a look at that now,
Oh.
Danny.
Oh no.
So
What is it?
that guy is a survivor of Hiroshima bombing.
Oh come on, dude.
And I thought that's what it was based on, but I was wrong because he doesn't really look like. He sort of looks like it, right?
Oh no, I don't want to look at it.
Go ahead, look at it. And it's not making fun of the way the guy looks. I literally thought
No,
that the
it's just
monster was
like
based on the
painful
guy.
to look at this. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
there's a because I was watching and I was like, where does this skeleton face look like? And there's this like guy who survived the Hiroshima bombing, and his face is like essentially looks like like a skull, like and
Yeah,
his,
I
one
wonder if
eye's.
they base it on that. Maybe.
It sort of looks like it, you know what I mean? Sort of, but I guess I could be wrong because there's a very peculiar look of that the monster in the film, and the monster looks actually pretty fucking cool. I don't like that some of it like you got to be a really good puppeteer when I was watching this because the way the monster moves so stiff in some parts, like when it there's a part where it's like sort of stop motion animation, like when it's chasing them,
Right.
that looks fucking awesome because it looks creepy as shit. But there's parts when it like rises up behind counters, sort of. It's like bad fucking Full Moon Productions level of
Right.
bad stuff, like
It's
the
not
new stuff,
that
not the old
bad.
stuff. No, but it's
It's
like
not that bad.
it's moving up like almost like they just built a bust of the character, and it's obviously somebody's just arms raising them up from behind the counter, as
Right.
opposed to somebody in a suit standing up. Because there is somebody in a suit at the end. You know, you can tell the difference between not so stiff movements
There's
as
some
opposed to
like
somebody.
really stupid shit in this movie though. Like they'll have like a random slow motion like for no reason though. It doesn't even like make anything better. It's just stupid.
So much
Like
of what?
like going to hit the person in the face. And,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
but it will slow it down like dramatically, like as if it's like this big dramatic thing, but it's not.
I
at all.
really did not understand how they killed that monster, the girl and the teacher at the end. You know when the monster erupts from that guy's body
Yeah.
because she looks like she just stabs
That's
it.
that's the part I'm thinking of when she's stabbing it in the face.
Because she's stabbing it, and then it cuts to this really awesome hand
Frank
stop
Zappa
animation. Okay, so that's what you're saying. It turns into this like stop motion clay animation of this like burning, and I was like, where did the fucking fire come from? So I guess
Yeah, I was confused too.
they must have lit. I don't understand. I never did like I did like one clay sculpture in class. That was it. I
You know
don't
what's
remember.
really stupid actually? I'm looking at the cover of this right now and it's got that monster face with the fire coming out of his eyes and a weird hand. It's like they can't get hurt by fire. So this is like a stupid cover automatically.
Maybe that's what they're showing. Is that how you got to kill him in the movie?
They're not going to show the way you kill the monster on the cover of it.
But I did. That's the thing with the movie. It's sort of a middle of the road movie, like where it could have been really awesome and insane, but
Yeah.
there just wasn't enough inventiveness in it. Like,
Well, there wasn't enough good script.
Well, that too,
the
obviously.
special effects was fine. If
because
they
it seems
had-
like it drags on for so long, but then it's like nonstop towards the end. But it's still a
that's
slow
just
nonstop.
that honestly is just the writing. If they had like more like interesting writing,
No, if they had
it-
interesting
it would be fine.
characters,
yeah, well that's writing.
Yeah, you're
that's
right.
writing.
Because none of the characters are interesting at all. Even the
Get it?
burn,
I'm right.
even the guy with the burnt face, like he's boring too. Like everybody's boring in the movie. Like everybody's so
Yeah.
melodramatic because they're treating school so seriously. You need to like make it way more interesting. Like the only
Yeah,
part
there's like no humor.
the only part that
at
made me
all.
laugh was the kid when the really nice girl offered to bring him lunch, and he said gotta go, and he just leaves, and I was like, that's why I thought maybe he didn't like her, but then I thought maybe he felt bad for her, so then that's why he had her lunch.
You really look deep into this. I think that they didn't think about it.
I tried to
and
find
that's
something in it. No, there was obviously somebody thinking something deep in this film. It just didn't come across in the script because I mean there was all those flashbacks. There was a flashback about the lady leaving the school because of her boyfriend dumping her. That didn't need to be in the fucking movie.
I didn't
like,
even
that was-
understand it because it was so out of context and stupid.
That was obviously supposed to be a setup of that lady just being angry that these kids were going to, schools to essentially fuck her
Yeah,
boyfriend.
but then nothing comes of the anger. If you're not going to do anything
I think
with
yeah,
it,
but I think that shot where she stands in front of the school with the box of clay was supposed to make us think a fake out, where she puts the clay there for them to take it.
I didn't
it's
necessarily
yeah.
think that.
So what the fuck other reason would she be standing in front of the school where she used
No,
to
no,
work
I'm
with her
just
boyfriend?
saying. I'm saying I didn't necessarily think, oh, is she gonna kill everybody in the school? I didn't.
I thought
think
for a
that.
second there, but it wouldn't make any. It would be such a weird turn for characters because that other girl's there. Like, why they even entertain the idea of leaving the
There's
fucking
no
city
point
with
of
her?
wasting like 5 minutes of a hour 20 movie to show something that ultimately doesn't do anything.
Yeah, and then why would she even go back to teaching school if she has such a fucking, bad experience with it? I guess, you're not going to change.
And then the ending was like, what the fuck? Like after they go in the city, it shows her standing there. It's like that's like 2 minutes, and then there's like just like the sky for like a minute or two. It's like what
No,
are you
I actually like the last 3 minutes of the film when you see the whatever the clay monster get up and it has all the people's faces on it. And
that was
then,
kind of cool.
and then it flashes back to the student's face like we would forget those are the people that are inside the body. Like, no shit, really? Even though that clay monster burnt up, that one that, killed those people would have been technically burnt up, and this is a different clay monster.
Can kilned clay go back to clay?
I would assume if you broke it down, right? You could turn it back. I don't know. I don't know how clay works.
Let's look this up. You keep talking. Can you?
So but that's probably the only visually inventive part is the very end when we see the clay monster and it has like all these people's faces on its arms and its body and shit, and it's standing up in the darkness. Then it cuts to almost like a some sort of weird retro horror film where you see they didn't have any money to show the chaos that the clay monster could do, and it's like a long shot of the city, which I like because it's like artsy. And you see like these digital explosions, like I guess it's causing absolute chaos and terror, even though it's a fucking clay monster. And you see like it's superimposing the old artist's face as he's dancing to old music.
And then it superimposes weird too.
Then it superimposes the monster's face, and then it goes to like a pop song at the very end, like a Japanese pop song. I was like, what the hell is this movie? Like,
yeah, it was just kind of weird. Okay, wait,
it's getting really bad ratings.
Recycling clay. Oh no, you can't.
Yeah, I figure once it's done, so you can't break
think
down.
About it. We found pottery that's thousands of years old that like is evidence for like ancient civilizations. It doesn't turn back into it. So that guy got set on fire. The end. He's done.
But
if anyone disagrees with me and knows more about like kilns and shit, please correct us in the comments or something.
Yeah, I mean, if you're listening to the show, you're most likely an artist and out of work, so you have time to listen to this show. So that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I always thought that once you make a clay sculpture, yeah, I guess so. You couldn't break it down, and so that changes it changes the whole chemical makeup of the clay into something else. Then, right? So you just can't even break it down and turn it back into dust.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's what plaster is. I feel really dumb that I don't know this, but
we weren't like, yeah, I'm an illustrator and you're a painter, even though we both messed with clay in the past. But I don't know.
I've played with clay, but.
This is all of a sudden become fucking art class podcast.
Yeah, we're doing art class now. If anybody knows about sculpture, please.
What film do you think this could have been? Like, what would you have liked to have seen?
I mean, it could have been like on level with like a Story of Ricky type of thing. It really could have been like.
You mean like a Tokyo Gore Police, those kind of guys, like that
like
sort of bizarre
effects. Like
insanity.
If they had gone like
right.
just so over the top, like crazy shit happening and monsters and stuff, it would have been awesome.
Because I mean,
they had
clay,
like, cool moments.
Yeah, it had cool moments, but it's so like peppered in between. Like when the clay like it grabs that girl's hand, and then her hand like she tries to press a phone button, and her fingers just like
bendy.
Her fingers bend because I guess it sucks.
It turned her hand into clay.
Yeah, it turns the bones into dust, just like I guess that old man had died. Which is like horse shit. I did like that. I was figuring that somebody would inhale the clay powder.
Yeah, that
and
was
they actually
cool.
did it because I figured that was going to happen. And they have that whole like great, for no reason, special effect of going into the nasal cavity and into the body. And it's like obviously a gigantic face that they put a camera through, like the nasal cavity. Like you remember Little Shop of Horrors when they show the inside of the mouth.
Yeah, the teeth part. That was
great.
So
it's like definitely you just see it go into the mucous membranes. Like I thought that was awesome. So it needed more of that. Like it just needed more insanity. It was really flat directing and this type of film needs insane camera work.
The writing was just stupid. The effects were there though. I give the effects credit.
Yeah, and it was nice that it was practical effects.
And I think the guy that directed it also did the effects, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm pretty sure that would have to be the case. Yeah, I think it's his first film. He or she, I don't know if it's a guy or a female, but it definitely needed more insanity and more crazy camera work to sort of amp up. Because once you don't see the clay, you got to deal with real people, and you need to make the real people way more interesting. So when they have to fight monsters, you know what I mean? That's the part that's missing from this type of film. It's Japanese. It's supposed to be fucking weird, You know,
Yeah.
that sounds very stupid what I just said,
No,
but
but
like
it's kind
I
of
mean, the
true.
premise
They're
of this
like
film
they
is
have
supposed to be weird.
pretty infamously weird movies, which is a
Yeah.
good thing.
So I mean, for that, I'd give the movie basically a 4 out of 10. Not you know I would give it a 5 out of 10 because the effects are actually pretty good and they're practical, which is something I appreciate. So I would give it a
Yeah.
5 out of 10. Not first of all refusing lunch from the nice girl, then eating the lunch, and then finding yourself in the situation where you get smacked in the face and your face caves in a comical manner in
Okay.
class.
I give it as a continuation of that scene. I'm gonna give it a also a 5 out of 10. You're laying on the ground after your friend just slit your face open, and you're very scared. And then all of a sudden, her face gets torn off and reveals another classmate's face, and you stop everything and say, "Oh, hello."
And with that, Danny, what's the final word?
Vampire Clay, Vampire Clay.
The horror deconstruction.